Today is January 3rd, 2020, and I'm here with Chandra Katwaroo, who is very famous in Trinidad for her singing, and she travels around the world, with this talent. So I'm going to talk to Chandra about her talents, how she uses it, and her gift that she has of singing and what her passion is. Chandra?
Namaste to you, and thank you for giving me this opportunity to tell a little bit of my life's journey.
So you were born where?
I was born in George Village, Tableland. That's in Princestown. And I lived there for all of my childhood days until I got married.
Wow, that's a really rural area. We would have had a lot of Indian culture in that area, yeah?
Absolutely. One of the most iconic things in Table and in George Village in particular is the Moose Bhagat Kutia, where I went to religiously from the age of 3 until I got married.
Yeah, I've been to that temple. That's a very famous temple.
Yes, it is. It's approximately 112 years old. And in that temple, I was able to sow religiously through all our pundits with the help of our villagers.
I have the history of Moose Bhagat. So you actually used to go to that temple as a child?
Yes, as a child, I grew up going to that kutia.
Wow.
We never said temple, we said kutia.
Kutia, huh?
Yes.
That's important.
Yes, kutia. And I must say, at the age of 5, I remembered only Sanskrit was spoken from the Singhasan, no English. But even though Sanskrit was taught and was read from the Singhasan, all I remember is that the Pandit was said, Bolo Shri Sitaram. That's what the first thing I learned was Bolo Shri Sitaram.
And who was, remember the name of the Pandit then?
The Pandit's name, I believe he was Prasad Maharaj.
Pandit Prasad Maharaj.
Yes.
And they actually chant. What were the texts that they chanted from?
I know it was Bhagavad.
Bhagavad Purana.
Yes, I know it was Bhagavad Purana.
And what about Ramcharit Manas? Did they chant it at that time?
I don't remember Ramcharit Manas at all.
That came later on.
That would have come later on. But Bhagavad, Srimad Bhagavad Puran, I know that was chanted by the Pandit.
Oh, very nice.
And 3 times, it was an entire week, but it was 3 times a day. And the final session would be, the Visarjan would be on a Sunday morning. Always.
So that's what the Bhagavad Puran Yajna, when they did it. Yeah.
Yes.
And how many days was the Yajna then?
7 days.
7 days.
Yes, correct.
And 3 times a day.
3 times
they
a
would.
day.
Oh, that's very, not many people remember.
No, but I remember
that.
vividly everything because only men cooked. There was a kitchen outside the mandir, the kutia. It was lipe, and only men will make the prasad. They will cook and they will do the distribution of the food.
And they used to live in the house next door, right?
Some of them, but my father, my dad and my kaka, they were very much involved in the kutia. So the Pandit had the help of all the villagers around.
Well, that's and where did you develop your passion for singing? And
see, I tell you, why I remember this so much is that I remember one Sunday morning when the Bhagavad was completed, and all the parents were busy cleaning up and putting away stuff and everything. I ran to where the microphone was, because at that time it was a funnel, I remember. So this one microphone, there was only one microphone, it was a very heavy microphone as a child, and I'm so thankful to God that I can remember this. I picked up that microphone and I started singing Bolo Shri Sitaram, 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 Jai Siyavar Ram. O Bolo Shri Radhe Sham, Radhe Sham, Radhe Sham, Jai Siyavar Ram. Do you know what happened? my parents ran out, and all the other Dada and the Pandita, and they ran out and they saw me as a little child, and they stood up and they looked at me. And I believe, Pandita Indrani, I believe I got my first blessing from all of these elders.
How old were you then?
I believe it was 5 or 6 years old.
Oh my God, you must have shocked all of them.
Yes, I think because a funnel was allowed. You would hear that as a speaker box.
Right.
And there was only one funnel.
So did they encourage you to continue singing after that?
Actually, after that, my father, who was well versed in chanting Ramayana, and his text was Ramcharitmanas. So every Saturday, my father would sit, and all of us, my siblings and myself, we would sit around. He would sit in a hammock, and we will all sit on pirha around the hammock, and he will chant Ramayana for us. And my first memory, about 8 or 9 years, that I learned, like I memorized, was Raha Ekadin Avadi Adhara. That one day Ram came back. That day had come and Sri Ram would come back to Ayodhya. And shortly after that, my father sent us to learn Hindi from Sadhu. He had come from India. He lived in our village. So we used the Nepal Presbyterian School at that time. So every Sunday we would go for Hindi classes from the Sadhu.
So he was an indented laborer also?
Yes.
So he had gone to India and come back?
No, he came from India.
Oh, he came from near late then?
He came with his parents.
Okay.
Yeah, he was very small because, remember, I am talking now about 60 plus years,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So he knew Hindi and he taught?
Yes. Very simply. He had a very simplified version of teaching us, and he had so much patience. God bless his soul wherever he is. So I have one regret though, that I did not continue as much as I would have wanted to, because shortly after that I went to secondary school, and I was involved in the school choir. I was involved in a lot of extracurricular activities in school, netball, tennis, everything, maypole dancing at that time.
Yes.
Because May Day was a holiday at that time. And so I was involved in a lot of sports and different activities. And shortly after high school, I got married.
Right.
At the age of 19, going into 20.
Well, it wasn't a child marriage for sure.
No, at all.
Yes.
I met my husband, who became a very good friend. And then we got married.
And what year was that?
That was in 1976.
And you were 19 then?
Yeah, going into 20.
20,
years.
very nice, very nice. So which are the texts that you specialized in reciting?
Ramcharitmanas.
Ramcharitmanas. Who taught you?
While I will refer to Bhagavad Gita, I love chanting Ramayana, because it was my fervent hope that through Ramayana, I was gifted actually by Ramcharitmanas. I was gifted that 26 years ago by a gentleman from the Vedanta Society, who had given me an award for my work, social work, because even though I was involved in singing and so on, I did a lot of social work from that tender age. And so he gifted me that Ramayana. And Pandita Indrani, as soon as I opened that Ramayana, I started chanting.
So you knew by then, because you knew some Hindi, so you could read the Avadi.
Yes.
You could read
a little bit, but I got spoiled with the transliteration.
Right.
Yes.
So it was easier for you to read the which a lot of people do as well. So who taught you then the Ramcharitmanas for chanting?
Actually, I totally believe, with all humility towards you and all the knowledge that you have, that all the knowledge flowed from Bhagwan Shiva.
Right. So in
my own way, I'm able to expound it and to have new ideas. And every time I read a katha, more than one time, I would get something new from that katha. Right. So I would definitely say, and I started off actually when I went to a wake with my group to sing. One of my husband's friend had passed away and we went to sing. And my husband quickly came and he said, listen, we have hundreds of people here. can't you sing just one chaupai so people will become quiet and they will listen more? And that was the first time that I really chanted a chaupai. Was the only one that I knew.
Right.
I chanted it, and the response was overwhelming.
Very nice.
Yeah.
So you belong to a group of singers, women singers, or mixed?
No, my husband was a member of the Hindustan Rama and Gol.
Right.
Rama and Gol.
I remember the Rama and Gol. So
Yes.
so he belonged to that. But is that the group you went around with too?
Yes.
So you joined
yes.
the Gol eventually?
Yes, there were no women in that Gol, you know.
Right. At that point.
But I remember they had gone to sing, do Ram and Katha by my aunt's house, and then they asked me to sing a song, and that was the beginning, the initiation of being in that group.
So it was slowly you got into the Rama and Gol. Did they
Yes.
involve other women slowly too?
Afterwards, not really, you know, because members of the Gol passed away, and eventually that Ram and Gol.
How many persons were in the Gol?
About 7 or 8.
7 or 8.
And they were all self-taught musicians.
Right.
Self-taught, harmonium, dholak, beautiful group. All had a passion to go out. And in those days, there was no electricity. So there was no sound system. And my husband would say sometimes they had to cross the lagoon, putting the harmonium on their head and walking to go to people's home to do satsang. And there was such a beautiful tradition that he said to me, most of the times when they went to people's home, Pandita, they would take the instruments, place it in their house, and wash their feet before entering.
The home, members of the home?
Home, yes,
yeah,
everyone.
Because they traveled through a lot of mud and all that to get there.
I don't think it was only that. I think it was an act of love and humility.
Yes.
Because there were no Brahmanas in that group.
Right. The Rama and Gol. But washing of the feet also is something that is a form of welcoming into your home.
I think that is the most
important but you bring up the point of no Brahmins in the Rama and Gol. I think that a lot of people who used to sing Ramayana long ago would not have been Brahmins in the Rama and Gol.
Correct, yeah.
Yeah, so
in the Gol, that's how they call it, the Rama and Gol.
Yeah, but they really kept the culture alive, these Rama and Gols all over the country.
Absolutely.
So how do you see it continuing? Are there any goals today?
I honestly believe that amidst all the negative things about Ramayana and Satsang and things, that we are growing, we are escalating. People are accelerating their spiritual journey through Ramayana, through Satsang. Because to my mind, amidst the buzz of activity in everyone's lives, Ramayana seem to serve as that solace, because this is why it is chanted worldwide. It is the text that is mostly used in satsang throughout the world.
So you still find it in Trinidad very popular today?
I find it is very popular, and I'm looking at young children who are becoming more magnetized to singing Chalisa, Hanuman Chalisa.
Hanuman Chalisa.
Yes, it's a very powerful thing. And when you see so many young people, there is hope. Sanatan Dharma will not die. So it flow in our veins.
So when would you say like the Chalisa became so important in the public chanting?
I think Hanuman Chalisa became popular in public chanting for about 15 or more years, to my knowledge. And it started with Raviji, because we chanted all of Sundarkand. I remember we did that under Raviji, and Chalisa chanting, then Ravi Bharati we did 108. And so it became a norm now in this country, that it is like, I love to say this, people do what people see, and people do what people hear. And once one mandir is involved in some kind of activity, there's a next one to pick up. So there's a flow, there's a chain.
It encourages others.
Yes, it does.
So those days you would say like, when you had the Bhagavad Puran in the earlier days with the Pandits reciting in Sanskrit from the Singhasan, and then when would you say like the Ramcharitmanas became popular to recite from the Singhasan?
I believe that became popular, I would say, like a good few decades ago. Like, because my Guruji, Swami Atmananda, He is no longer physically with us, but he went from Bhagavad to Bhagavad Gita to Devi Bhagavatam, and I realized coming to the more end of his lifetime, did a lot of Ram Katha.
Yeah, so the Rams, well, today the most popular text that's recited
Yes.
seems to be the Ramcharitmanas.
Yes, absolutely.
Right, great. So you continued singing in the group, and then how did you develop your talent after that?
So in 1984, it was the first time I recorded my first cassette professionally at Sarana Music. Shortly after that, 26 years ago, like I said, I opened Ramayana and started doing Ram's Katha.
So what did you have on the cassette? Your first cassette was what about?
I did Vedic bhajans. Most of the bhajans were Vedic bhajans. Tu hai sacha pita, he jagat pita bhagavan, Prabhuji mere aavo.
That's from the Vedic Upasana.
Yes.
So you were skilled in that, and then you went on to
Normal bhajans, but Sanatan
Sanatani bhajans.
Yes. But besides that, like I said, during this time, I'm still involved with working with the Blind Welfare Association. Couple of years ago with Red Chariot Foundation, Nayak Foundation. I went to the Hindu school and taught for Bal Vikas. I go to schools before Diwali and do little Diwali lectures and so on. Even to companies, they would ask me to come. And so besides the Ramayana and Pandita Indrani, my heart feels sad when I think that my opportunities for Ramayana were 90% when people pass away.
Yes, a lot of women, that's how we got the break, eh?
Yes, because
it's only during that people would call us.
Yes, so no pandits are available, and they would call us. But, and I say to people, whenever I am called to sing Ram's Katha, I feel blessed. It gives me an opportunity, whether it's when somebody die or for any other function, but I feel happy to chant.
So, but we got that break. It's usually at death that women would be called upon to help with the rituals or perform the rituals. But then after that, you became independent in the sense that you'll be called for other things, not only in Trinidad. You go abroad. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, in 2002, I did Bhakti Yatra. Bhakti Yatra was, as the name implies, a devotional journey where I had my group, and we went throughout that year, for that entire year, throughout this country, doing Ramayana. So it was a very positive thing in people who attended the first one, which took place at Green Street Temple, which is the first temple in Trinidad.
That's what they say, the Green Street.
Right. So from there,
Tunapuna, Green Street Temple in Tunapuna.
Yes,
what's the name of the temple?
Green Street, that's how I know it.
Green Street Temple, okay.
And then Professor Vijay Narayan Singh, he was someone who came and initiated that for me. I was very blessed to have him. And it ended up that year at the Hindu Credit Union place in Pier Road, where there was a huge ceremony. And I was given 12, it was sponsored by the HCU, 12 huge Hanuman Murtis, where I was able to give each Monday that I went to a Hanuman Murti.
Oh, that's lovely. So it's 12 Mondays you went to across the country.
Across the country.
So you gifted them a Hanuman.
Yes. And actually it was such an overwhelming success. We had a couple thousand people.
Very nice.
Everybody flowed. People who came to January function, people didn't stop. People went along the way with Bhakti Yatra. Then 2003, I took Bhakti Yatra to Florida and to Orlando. 2004, I did a city Bhakti Yatra.
But how many temples you visited in?
I visited five.
On that first yatra
abroad.
And the second yatra.
Five.
So
Three
five
in Florida and 2 in Orlando.
Right. So that was the yatra. What year was that?
2003.
In the US.
Yeah.
Right.
And 2004, I did that CD with some of the bhajans that I did for the yatra. And very sad that my husband passed that same year, so I took 1 year off in 2005, and then 2006 I started amidst emotional challenges and so on, and my 2 children to look after. I did another yatra. It was called Bhakti Dhara. Those were quarterly live radio programs on Heritage Radio. I was happy at that, in one of the programs, to have Sudhir Narayan from Agra. He's a very, very accomplished singer. He was in Trinidad. He was staying with me, and he accompanied me to the radio station. At one time I had Prakash Gosai. At one time I had Pandit Rajan Balgobin, well-acclaimed pundits and so on. And the timing was right. And they were always in Trinidad to do some things with me.
Yeah, very nice.
Yeah.
So you wanted to share some of the...
Yeah, so after that, for each program, whatever I did Bhakti Yatra, I would print booklets.
Right, nice.
And the booklet, this is the 2002 booklet.
Right.
And
Let's see, bring it up closer, let's see. And this is 2002. And where was this?
Well, this was the one that I did for the entire year.
All right. So how many? That was the 12 temples in Trinidad?
Yes.
12 mandirs in Trinidad.
Each person will get one booklet.
Right.
Because all the songs that we would sing, whatever chants, they were able to open their books and sing. Then this was the one I did in 2003.
And where was that again?
This was the one I did abroad.
Okay.
And each one I had a logo. For the first one, said Rama Bhagati Jahasura Saridhara Sarasi Brahma Bichara Prachara. Devotion to Sri Ram represents the moving Prayag, the stream of the Holy Ganga.
Nice.
And in 2003, the watchwords were Ram, 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 Ram Nam Tarakam, Ram Krishna Vasudeva, Bhakti Mukti Dayakam, Janaki Manoharam, Samastalokanaayakam, Shankaradi Sevyaman, Punyanam Kirtanam. The name of Ram takes one across the ocean of this world of process. Ram, Krishna, Vasudeva, these divine names are the bestowers of devotion and liberation. Rama is the delight of Janaki. He is the Lord of the whole universe. And let us chant this holy name, which is adored even by Shankara.
Very, very nice.
Yes.
The others you have?
Yes, so this I did something that is called Bhakti Sadhana. No, and I must tell you about this, Pandita Indrani. One day, it is always a desire of mine throughout the year to visit Patirantri's temple. I'm sure you have been there.
Yes.
So one day I went on my normal visit, and a sister of mine from England was here. And I went and I sat down in a little meditation, and as though I heard him said, Bhagwan Shiva, go sing my name. Go and chant my name. And the next day I said, Prabhu, what do you want? And then it all came to me by divine inspiration, Bhakti Sadhana. And those were 3 programs, Bhakti, Shakti and Mukti.
Very nice.
So the first one, Bhakti, took place at the Patiramtri's temple. Second, Shakti took place at Railway Road, Dharam Sabha. And then Mukti was at Hindustan Mandir. Now, it flowed. If we have Bhakti, we will eventually be able to have this Shakti, this inner strength. And when we have Bhakti and Shakti, when that day would come, then we would have Mukti. So out of this program, I wrote a song. Chalo chalo sakhiya mil jaye re, Satsangati Shiva Guna gaye re, Chalo bhakto hum pyar mil gaya, Jeene ke sahara mil gaya, Jai Bam Bam Bholenath re, Jai Har Har Shankar Bam Bhole. That song has 3 verses, one for Bhakti, one for Shakti, and one for Mukti.
Very creative, yeah. I noticed that your approach to propagating the Dharma and spreading it is very creative. It's not just reciting and, you do something more to the
Always.
presentation and the content.
Yes, and the thing is that when I'm inspired, I listen. I'm a very good child of Bhagwan Shiva. I listen to him. So
So that's your Ishta Devata.
Yes. And the thing is that these programs, like I said, each one we had booklets. This one is the one for Bhakti Sadhana. So, and I used a verse from the Vedic Upasana. Hiranyagarbha samavaratagre bhutasya jata patireka ase sadadhara prativim dhyaya muktemam kashme deva havisha vidhema is from the Rig Veda 10:121. So this Bhakti Sadhana had specifically to do with the worship of the Shivalingam. And it is something that teaches everyone that Bhagwan Shiva doesn't always want all the paraphernalia. But if we are devoted to him, the most important watchword is love, because love is the foundation for bhakti. I did a series of television program called Bhakti Milan, where I shared just 5-minute slots on different subjects, I chose the guru, the parent, and I chose the gift of speech, gratitude. So it's on YouTube. I did something called Bhakti Ras. So in 2016, I visited India for the second time. The first day when I got there and everyone settled down, I was wearing a pair of bracelets that my mother gave to me. I looked down and I saw the bracelet and I said, Ma, you never came to India. Neither my father or none of my other siblings. And as I've been looking at this today, may my prayer always reach your soul wherever it is. And immediately, I got this inspiration, gratitude. And from the next day, my trip for 21 days became a sadhana, one of gratitude.
Very nice.
When I came back to Trinidad, it took me 1 year where I did Koti Dhanyavad.
2016.
Yes. And I wrote a song, Koti Dhanyavad. This program, Pandita Indrani, I gave awards to 11 people. People like Mangal Patesar, Virendra Prasad, people who have been involved in music and culture and dharma, Michael Sarikram. And like again, I would give booklets to everyone. And that day we had it at Chinmaya Ashram, and that day that entire ashram was filled to capacity. So let me just sing the chorus of this beautiful song, Koti Dhanyavad. And my interpretation for each one of the verses were done that particular day. And I was very blessed to have Swami Brahma Swarupananda initiate this program. And I was happy to have both him and Swami Prakashananda present at that function. So sometimes I ask myself, how can I live just one life to thank Bhagwan? It's impossible, because when I look at how much I can do, how much I want more to do, it's impossible. So Koti Dhanyavad to you for having me. And let me sing just one verse of this song. Dhanyavad, Dhanyavad, Prabhu Koti Dhanyavad. And I asked myself, Koti Dhanyavad was not enough. I compounded it, Koti Dhanyavad. For gift of life, Prabhu Shukriya. For body and soul, Bahut Dhanyavad. Your inspiration flow in my mind like Ganga Dhara, pure and divine. How do I thank you, Prabhu? What do I say? I promise to serve you night and day. Dhanyavad, Dhanyavad. Prabhu Koti Koti Dhanyavad. This is the next verse, beautiful. Oh, my Pitris Bahu Dhanyavad for coming to work here in Trinidad. Your every tradition, prayer and culture, in your children you did nurture. So many years have passed away, but our parampara is alive today. Dhanyavad, Dhanyavad. Prabhu Koti Koti Dhanyavad.
Very lovely. Thank you so much. So, what did you do professionally in your life alongside all this cultural stuff?
You know, when I got married, I was teaching before, which I did for only 1 week. After that, my husband, we got engaged. He never wanted me to work. That was a very serious step that my father in particular was very upset about, because he thought that we were educated, and out of the 4 girls, he knew that I would do well in a job, and I was given, which I showed to my husband when we got engaged, showed that I had gotten a letter to start to work in the ministry of in Princestown, Ministry of Works, which he was not very happy about.
Why? Well, what was it?
I think because he was, should I say, a long time person?
Right. Traditional values he had.
Yes. So he thought that I must be at home. Mm-hmm. And he said, I want you to know it is not to stay home to do housework. So he provided me with a housekeeper from 1976 when I died. I had a housekeeper.
Well, you were saying he did everything for you, actually.
Everything.
He provided everything.
Everything. He spoiled me, actually.
We didn't curtail your movements and all
No.
of that at all.
And he was the source, he was the push, he was the propeller, so to speak, behind me doing Ramayana, because he would take me, he would be patient, and everything for all my religious activities.
Yeah, so it wasn't an oppression that you felt.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. It was not an oppression.
But that was that's a unique kind of